Hello guys, this is Mike from McProgramming.org. In this video on Python, we're going to talk about numbers. And numbers are dynamically typed in Python, which means that we don't have to specify the type of data that we're dealing with. We don't have to write int, we don't have to write float. All that is referred to at runtime. So your virtual machine, when it's running the code, it knows it takes its best, very educated guess on what it is, and it gives you the right output. So, to give you an example, if I wanted to say 5 plus, I need the cursor there, 5 plus 5, it gives me 10, and it knows that 5 was an integer and 5 was an integer, and it spit out an integer. But what if I put 1 as a floating point? And a floating point means that it has a decimal point after it. So integers are whole numbers, any negative number that's a whole number, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. A floating point can be, 5.3 is a floating point. So if I added a floating point with a integer, it knows to give me that floating point value. Okay, so now that's pretty much the basic numbers you're going to have to know for right now is integers and floating points, whole numbers and decimals. And there's a few mathematical operators that we should know real quick. You just saw the how to add numbers, and I guess you would know how to subtract numbers. That's pretty easy, just like in real life. So that's why Python works really good with new programmers, is because it's so user friendly. It's just like typing in English. So that's your subtraction. Multiplication is just the star symbol. So let's say 5 times 30 is that. And then to divide, we can say 8/4. That would give us 2. And it gives us a floating point value by default now. I don't think it used to. You used to have to actually make one of these a floating point, so it would know that to give you a floating point output. So let's say 8 divided by 5, and we get 1.6, so we're still getting floating points. But if you don't want a floating point, you want just an integer, we can use 2 backslashes. So 8 divided by 5, we should just get a 1. Whoops, I did it wrong. 8 backslash 5, we should get just a 1. Okay, so when you use these 2 backslashes, it gives you just an integer value. Well, what about that 0.6? How can we get that? And if you remember back in, I guess, elementary school, maybe middle school, we had to do long division, and we came with remainders, and you never use remainders really. What's the point? Well, we can get remainders right here. The way you do that is you say 8 or whatever number you're using, and you use something called the percent sign, but it's called the modulus operator. So you would word this as 8 module 5, okay, or 8 mod 5. Alright, and we should get 0.6. Or no, we won't get a 0.6, we'll get a 3. Okay, because when you divide 8 and you go into it 5 times, you're going to have a remainder of 3 because it goes in once with 3 left over. So that will come in handy later on in your programming. It may not seem like it will now, but these are some of the more common mathematical operations. Another one, let's show you how to raise something. Instead of having to say 3 to the third, such as 3 times 3 times 3, we could just say 3 and then 2 multiplication signs, and then to whatever power you want. So I wanted it to the third, so I should get 27, and I do. So that's how you raise something to a power, is you have 2 multiplication signs. Alright, so join me in the next tutorial coming soon, and please subscribe below if you like these videos, and like them as well. Thank you guys.